Ahayah, Bahasham, Yashiya, Rawach, Barak, Athah, Shabbat, Shalom. Blessings unto you. Qam Yashar'Al, Qam Yashar'Al, Qam Yashar'Al. Welcome to World War III. Our reference today will be Romans chapter 2, verse 14. And this message is entitled American Nightmare and Hebrewisms. The quick note: the Black Panthers Breakfast Program inspired other social services programs such as WIC. The Black Panthers Party began as a non-racist American political party, which serviced the uplift and self-determination of those called black by their government. Operating under a government tyrannical rules or system of law, the Black Panther Party created for those called by black to identify for themselves what the government purposely failed to see. They created this system of taking care of one another, taking care of themselves, whereas the government failed to see anything that they were doing and didn't care to see it. Now, folks, if I was to tell you that I am a sunflower and I give you the proper number of my seeds I hold, the vibrant golden color of my petals, and explain to you how strong of a stem that holds me up, why then must the broadcasters of evening news turn to its audience and call me a dandelion? What gives them that right? Now, racism is a part of the American dream, known to those called black as the American nightmare. Racism will look you in the face as you explain in everything that you have just described of yourself and turn around and call you something different and explain to you differently. Explain you differently to other people, even other nations for that matter. The so-called black man is constantly integrating themselves to a Greco system which exists only to cause damage to the originally indigenous aboriginal tribes and nations. Now, if we call ourselves Hebrew Israelites, given freely by international law, international law says that you can call yourself whatever it is you want to call yourself. If we do this, and then the professionals of social engineering, which is televised news and radio, will again add black as the identifier, that is racist, folks. If I come and I say I'm a Hebrew Israelite, and somebody else comes along and says, okay, you're a black Hebrew Israelite, that is racist. In fact, that goes along the lines of the Iraqis going down to the Kuwaitis and telling them to leave. The American government went over there and beat up on the Iraqis. The same thing that goes for the people of northern Iraq who were kicked out of Iraq, and the American people went over there, the American forces went over there and beat up on Iraq for kicking out the northern Iraqis. Okay? It's racism. It pains me, even to this day, as a historian, not of unconstitutional educators, but a historian of my people and a seer of my people, that the original Afro-Asiatic Hebrew peoples are still associated with the acts of violence or the laws of this land, in the land of Magor Misabib, which is surrounded by terror in the United States. Now, there are some Hebrew Israelite camps and schools out there bringing thug life or thug-like principles into the awakening of peace. The entire Bible, the entire Holy Scriptures, is a book that is trying to get its adherents to peace with God, to peace with your ancestors, to peace with living life peacefully. Being so far into centuries, not just 400 years, but centuries of influence by other nations and tribes, these Hebrew Israelite groups are acting just like the colonial captors, as the Barbados and the Mexican slave codes identify good Christians as white people. The Barbados slave code, the Mexican slave code, identifies good Christians as white people. And these good Christians who mutilated and executed an entire continent for their posterity. Thugism. Good Christians. That's not peace, folks. And you're about to celebrate their Yuletide. Figure out what that means. Public Law 92-433 of September 1966. It was established as the Nutrition Act. Now, this is founded upon, 1, the Black Panther Party by Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale. 2, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, also known as SNCC, of April 1960, and that was led by Ella Josephine Baker. And 3, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference of January 1957 at the Ebenezer Baptist Church, headed by Dr. Martin Luther King. Again, this Nutrition Act, this Public Law Nutrition Act, would not exist if these integrated Negroes did not act upon trying to integrate themselves in the United States. Magor Misabib. Again, seeking peace under Magor Misabib. One more time. Public Law 92-433 for the nutrition of low-income families and children would not exist if these integrated Negroes did not act on Greco-Roman terms. And like good Christians, the Greco-Roman racists that they are, your children today are forced to pay for their meals once again. To the Hebrew Israelites out there under a practical knowledge of a supreme pontiff, your general, the word Catholic is a Latin word for universal. One more time, you Hebrews out there, listen up. The word Catholic is Latin for universal. So if you're under the universal practical knowledge of some Hebrew camp group with a general, then you have displaced and misplaced your Messiah, just like all the Catholics out there. Now, this integration law is not far from you Negroes pretending to be Hebrews. Either you're a Hebrew or you a Catholic. Now, let's read that Romans chapter 2, verse 14. For when the Gentiles, meaning when the nations which have not the law, they don't have the law of Moses, do by nature the things contained in the law of Moses, these have not the law of Moses, are a law unto themselves. So when you are a Hebrew practicing the law of Moses, and other nations who are not given the law, statutes, and commandments, those promises of God, that are in the law of Moses, when they are doing those laws, they are a law to themselves, because they can recognize what good is, but they don't have to, as proven here, this public law for nutrition. Whereas we can give food to our kids freely, but the unconstitutional system of government can first give it to them and take it away from them, just as you see here today. I'm going to end this session of discussion right there. For the final note, your ancestors, your forebears fought for some constitutional rights which good Christians did not originally give them. It's time for you Native Americans, you Latinos, mulattoes, and originally indigenous Negroes to wake up and fight for your indigenous beginnings. May the peace of Ahayah, the great I am, awaits you. I am a Hebrew Israelite and conscientious objector. Hebrew Israelite out.